Are you worried about AVs? So actually, when
Better be.
Sergio had sent the
You better be.
well, to a point. But when Sergio sent the topic list for today over, I decided to put a poll up. So we'll discuss the poll. But an interesting article came out from BI, Business Insider, and it was by Alex Bitter saying Uber drivers aren't worried about the company's driverless car plans and who's going to handle tune-ups. So pretty interesting
Hey, look
article
who's here. Look
nonetheless.
who's here. Hold on. Look who's here. Look, look, look. The Iron Man of Boston right here. He's taking a vacation
Nice.
in Brazil.
Oh,
That's up
nice.
to you. Raphael. He's the man. He's the 3K man week after week. Anyway,
Well,
sorry.
enjoy Brazil.
That's right.
I mean, it's their
Um,
winter, but enjoy.
yeah.
I'm sure it's
That's
still
right.
beautiful, though. Let's be real.
Yeah, man. He drives hard and plays hard. But so are you worried? Are you worried, Chris? That AVs are going to I
I
mean
am not worried about AVs because I'm going to just put a fucking cone on it.
okay. So Alex, good friend of BI, did this article, and he asked talked to a bunch of drivers, and it seems like they're not worried as much. Now, I'm not worried as much either, but I am worried. I mean,
Yeah.
but these
Well, look,
people these people said Uber drivers aren't worried about companies' driverless car plans, and they said, who's going to handle the tune-ups? Drivers. These cars are EVs. They don't need tune-ups. However, I was talking to
you're
Chris
still
in the
going to need
green room.
some. I mean, you're going to need tires because EVs
Yeah,
go through tires much quicker.
yeah.
You're still going to need to service the cars because they're going to get dinged up, and all that stuff. But are you really going to go from a being a driver to a mechanic? I don't
Yeah.
see the connection there.
No, I don't see it
That's like
either. But
that's like
the
telling people to go learn to code. You know when that was real
before,
popular back? That's like the same exact, "Oh, go learn to code." Really?
yeah, but okay, you know what we were talking in the green room with you, right? We were talking about
Yep.
it before the show.
Mhm.
We're not going to say anything yet, but I'm working on something really, really interesting, and I want to do this before I quit. I really
I
do.
I definitely put that at the high end of interested for sure. So stay
I
tuned
Yeah,
for that.
we will talk about that when I have more substantive information about that because I think it will definitely benefit the driver community, definitely. So, but going back to this article, um, yeah, Uber, and so we did the poll. By the way, go respond to the poll. It's about this subject. Are you worried about AVs or not? Chris, I know for a fact this. Okay, so Tesla robotaxi is testing in Austin.
Yep.
Waymo and Uber have a sweetheart deal in Austin. I have a few drivers in Austin that said business has collapsed for them. They're Uber drivers and Lyft drivers. And they are making 50% less because these Waymos and robotaxis are just zipping around and the business has really truly collapsed. Now, it may be a little seasonal, it was middle of summer, Austin, whatever. But they're saying these are drivers that drove last year there as well in the middle of summer without these cars. And Waymo only supposedly has only 100 cars in Austin in a geofenced area. And they said, but they placed the cars in an area where all the trips are, where it surges and things like that. And they go like, we're dead, we're dead. So it is hurting their business just with 100 cars. Imagine more cars. So Uber's driverless car partnership with Lucid and Nuro, we're going to talk about that next topic. Ride-hailing drivers said Uber will need to address the technology's limitations and costs. Yeah, unit economics are not there yet, but they're definitely going to get there. And Uber is aiming to have autonomous vehicles in a U.S. city in 2026. Uber drivers are waiting to see the company's future driverless cars successfully dodge potholes before they start looking for new jobs. Listen, drivers, this is reality. This rideshare thing is not a career. Okay, that's why we always say prepare for your plan B, learn something else. I wrote a beautiful article. It's on our newsletter. Please go check it out. In fact, an article regarding this specific topic, how you can, you know, lessen the damage that's coming your way. I think Samantha is probably going to put that up sometime this week. And this is a real threat, folks. You can't just put your head in the sand and say, it's okay, nothing is going to happen. Maybe if you're in a rural area or something, but if you're in a densely populated city center, these things are coming. But my plans are going to make you benefit from this. And I'm telling you, I'm going to do that. And Chris liked the idea, by the way. So,
Mhm.
so
Oh, I do.
yeah,
I think it's a great idea, but
yeah.
obviously, due to certain issues, you can't really
Not
say
working.
anything at the moment. So, I understand why, but when it comes down to it, yes, I think there is going to be some upset, in the near future, but for the average person in the average area, who's not in these, let's call them test markets right now. If you're not in these test markets, then I think you're going to have a little bit longer of a period to be able to, transition into something. For those where, they're already LA, um, being one, San Francisco, um, Atlanta now coming on board, uh, Austin, all of these particular areas that are test markets, especially Austin,
Yeah,
you got to start looking like doing your pivoting immediately. What because you've got people who are testing it, so they're checking it out. The question is, will it become a self checkout lane or will it be somebody who's there when it comes down to it? So um, I don't know. I don't know how to gauge the perception of what's going to happen. I think though the reality is, um, you know, probably the younger generation is going to be more easily um, making the switch versus millennial and older. I don't think they're going to be making the switch as quick. So I think that's going to help a little bit. But the reality is, as we said after Herbivore, you got to have another plan. You got to have maybe a couple of plans
yeah,
in and just to make the transition easy. So then that way you could follow up on something that you enjoy. Follow your dreams. Follow. Revisit what it was. When you were a kid that you're like, oh, I really want to do this, and you never did it. Follow up on that, make it into a
yeah,
reality or something, and then you can slowly transition off of rideshare. Or, you could figure something else out. Who knows? Whatever it might be, you definitely want to be ahead of the curve in this particular situation. And then for the foreseeable future, as long as rideshare is relevant, you can always do it as part-time extra income on top of whatever you're trying to transition into. So you can definitely, do whatever you got to do in order to make things happen. But you don't want it, as Sergio said, you don't want to have your head in the sand when all of a sudden something happens and hey, look, we got 300 more cars coming in board and great. Now your uh, demand went down to 20%. Now you're making,
yeah,
for every $100 you were making, now you're only making 20 bucks.
yeah,
Hey everyone, Sergio here with the Rideshare Guide. What do we say on Show Me the Money Club? Work smarter, not harder. If you aren't using the Solo app, which I have been for the past year and a half, you may be working a lot harder than you need to. Let's change that. Download the app, link your account where you can manage your income, track your expenses, as well as your taxes. Not only that, but you can plan by optimizing your time, make more money, and even guarantee your daily pay with guaranteed earnings. Download the Solo app today. Begin to work smarter, not harder. Link is in the description. Let's get back to it.
So,
no, I just checked actually on my phone. That article that I wrote is going to come out, but I wrote already one. It's on our blog. Please go check it out. How you can pivot, what you can do to pivot, and things like that, and suggestions. And please go check it out because look, a lot of people take it for granted until they lose it, and then business goes down, and all you do is complain. It's not going to get anywhere. And I understand this is your livelihood, but this train has left the station. This is going to happen, folks.
mhm.
And these things work 22 hours a day, and they're going to cut down on business. I mean, that's just without the demand going down if we have a recession, slowdown, or whatever. But uh, you have to be prepared for it because, again, this is not a career. This rideshare driving is not a career.
No,
And
it's not.
but anyway,
It's
we're
not
going
a
to do
career
everything
unless
we
you
can.
make it a career, meaning, you do the transition to private rides as well. If
That
you're
Yeah,
able to
that
do something like
definitely,
that,
definitely.
then and like I say, especially with the costs of these things, except for maybe the robotaxi. But again, tests, so it's not going to stay at that for very long. But
Yeah.
you know, Waymo costs more, and
At the
Uber and
moment.
Lyft are already
Yeah.
are at the breaking point for a lot of people. So again, like I've said the last few weeks, if you enjoy driving and you are personable and you know can create your own clientele, yeah, you probably could do a very good successful business and make it a full time hustle when it comes down to it. So
Yeah.
it's just a matter of your priorities, what you need to do. But yeah, always make sure you're paying attention to what's going on, and don't be like, oh, you know, hey, uh, I got plenty of time, because before you know it, you're gonna look back and be like, holy crap, and there they are.
Yeah. Technology is advancing fast with these things. They're getting better and better every day. And now, Elon threw his hat into the ring with robo taxis in Austin, and those are just regular Model Ys that they're doing trips with.
Mhm.
They're not the actual robo taxi that you guys saw maybe 6 months ago when he announced it with the two gull-wing doors and two seaters. Yeah, I mean, look, you guys need to, and again, this channel is going to go away. I'm pretty sure if they're all AVs, what are we going to do, right? One thing that I like though, Chris, is Lyft is at least optically trying to look right about this. They have
Mhm.
they're launching cars and autonomous vehicles in Atlanta this summer, and they have autonomous vehicle forum for drivers to get their feedback. But I think they're doing it the wrong way. I think what I'm thinking is going to really, really make sure the drivers who are willing to, are taken care of. I don't want to say more than that, but Uber is not doing a thing about it. Nothing. They don't even talk about it. All they do is keep announcing these deals as if the drivers did
Mhm.
not exist for 12, 15 years on their platform and still pay the salaries of these people. But that's Uber though. Uber is a little bit more cutthroat and Lyft seems more human than Uber. So anyway, but that's where we are.
Yep.
All right, thanks for watching. That short little clip was from our live stream, Show Me the Money Club with Sergio and myself, Tuesdays, 6 p.m. Eastern, 3 p.m. Pacific. Make sure you subscribe, turn on all notifications so you get notified when we go live, as well as all of our awesome content. Make sure to check out this video right here, which will take you to the entire live stream, or check out this video right there. All right, drive smart, everyone.